Lights up bright, dope, Campbell Stadium is alive. Seminoles rise and fight to survive. Helmet gleam under that blazing sun. Florida State where champions run. Seminole sideline 365. Feel the roar, we're coming alive. Garnet and gold in the battle we thrive. This is our house where legends arrive. Turf torn up under Seminole feet. The war chant pounds to the heart's own beat. Chop through the noise like a storm in the sky. 2025, we reach for the high. Seminole sideline 365.
Welcome back to Seminole Sideline 365. My name is KB. With me is the old man, and we are back with another week. Finally, we get to watch Florida State play football. It seems like forever, I would say it seems like forever since they played real football, because I don't count 2 weeks ago when they played against East Texas A&M, and this week I think it's going to be about the same, playing Kent State, but we get at least
Could be worse. Worse.
We get to watch something at least on the field, and we're going to go over. We're going to tell you what to watch, who to look for, what to expect, and who maybe we want to stand out, who we want to see more from. And that'll be the show tonight, so stay tuned. Let us know in the comments in the discussion thread what you think, what you expect, what your predictions are, and if you disagree with us or agree with us, we appreciate you being here, whether you're watching live or recording.
And as we always do, KB, who's the first? Who's the first one in the comments section? And that award goes to Jalen Stiff again. Jalen's kind of leading the rankings, and him and Mike. Mike came in within seconds, just seconds after him. But Mike, look, Jalen's beat you to the punch there, buddy. Okay.
Appreciate you too.
Appreciate you guys, man.
We know Thursday nights are tougher. I'm trying to move us to Wednesday so we don't compete as much with other football that's going on.
Yeah, football's on. Who's playing tonight?
I don't watch a lot of Thursday night football.
Mike, who's playing tonight? Mike will tell us. Jalen will tell us. They're kind of our analytical guys, man.
NFL.
You know what? Some night, if they agree, we're going to get them on the show. We got to get them on a show. Okay.
Okay. There we go. And I believe I think the Dolphins are on the line, which is probably why I don't know why they're
the Dolphins. You know, their coach, that guy. Did you see his past press conference when they lost?
He's weird.
He looks like he should be doing analytics someplace on Moneyball or.
Well, he was an analytical guy. That's
I'm sorry. Listen, he's in the NFL. He's been a coach for a long time. He just doesn't inspire me as a player. If I was a player, and I think that's going to be short lived. I really do. If they have a bad performance tonight, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Well, there you go. And the other thing to talk about is if you're worried about college football tonight, Rice and Charlotte are live right now. It's tied 0-0. So after this, go ahead and turn over to ESPN and watch Rice at Charlotte. So,
and here's a trivia question for Jalen and Mike. You can't use AI. You can't look it up. What coach at Florida State, when he left Florida State, coached at Rice? Coached at Rice. That's question number one. What is the worst coach who ever came out of Charlotte who came to Florida State?
Oh, I know that.
Number two. Don't give it away. We'll give that answer soon.
I know that one. All right. So before we dive in, is there anything you want to bring up before we dive? Any news? Anything?
No. I'm on the road. I'm always on the road, man. So I'm using some new equipment here and my travel studio, and I'm up in Cape Cod. It's beautiful up here. Going to a big game tomorrow night. Bishop Cardinal Spellman here in the Brockton, Mass area, where my grandkids go to school. We're going to have a big tailgate party, first tailgate ever, organized by the vice president of the class, my granddaughter, Kenzer. Kenzer is going to be there, getting everybody up and going. She's the captain of the soccer team, and her sister, a freshman, is going to be cheerleading on the field. So it's going to be great, man. We're going to do hot dogs, burgers, and I wanted to do the music, but it looks like the admin is kind of running that side from the school. So, yeah, we'll see. But we're going to be ready. You always got to be ready, KB.
Yeah, I always got to be ready. So that should be a sign. That'll be a good time. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So obviously, we host Kent State this weekend. I believe it is Parents Weekend because people I saw on Twitter were complaining about hotel prices and those being crazy jacked up. And they're like, why are they so expensive? Or someone was talking about ticket prices being out of control.
That I don't think that was like $200 and some dollars. I don't believe that.
I have it up right here.
On TickPick, the cheapest price is
$1,000, like 400.
No,
this is it. Yes.
No. Well,
SeatGeek.
I can't believe it. That's incredible.
I think it's because it's
cheapest. Put cheapest.
Okay, I'll pull it up right now.
TickPick. I like TickPick.
Okay, so I think that. Well, now I gotta verify my. So TickPick.
Okay, Mike Merrick's already bailed out on the rice question.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you in just a minute. Can't cheat on these.
So $200. Yeah, look. $200, $211, $190, $97, $500 for these $300.
Before we played Texas A&M there, East Texas A&M, the seats you could get in for like $12, $15.
I still
on TickPick.
This is $200.
That's crazy.
But that's crazy. But
hey, we appreciate you viewers out there too. If you have scores that are coming up, you want scores, send them to us. Okay, we'll get them up.
But this is all sold out over here. But yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, but if you can go. It should be a fun time. Parents Weekend, obviously. So
it should be a good weekend, right?
Yeah, it should be sold. I believe it's already sold out, but obviously there's always tickets on the secondary market. But yeah, it should be a good time. Obviously, Kent State is coming off of a couple of losses. Obviously,
they're coming off more than a couple losses. Not just this season.
Well, yeah, they're coming off. They're having a rough season. They had a rough season last year. They're 1-2 coming into this game. 2-1 against the spread though. So
and they have an interim coach.
Florida State is going to be facing a number of interim coaches this year. They could be facing up to 4 or 5 interim coaches on their schedule. So that's a pattern for the season to keep track of. But yeah, they come in with an interim coach. They come in coming off a big loss against Buffalo this past weekend, coming off a loss at Texas Tech. So they are reeling a little bit, right? There are some bright spots, I would say, if we're going to look at bright spots of who to look for on the Kent State side. This guy, Drew DeShields, for someone to watch on their end, some bright spot to look on their side, is this freshman quarterback for them. I think he just started playing the last couple of games for them primarily. Freshman, 6'2", 185. He hasn't turned over the ball at all, I don't believe, for them yet. And he's played fairly well. If you look at the stats, you look at what he's produced, you look at some of his rankings in terms of whether it's PFF or you look at just his raw ability, he's played pretty well for them. Against Texas Tech, if we look at his game logs and what he did there, he didn't play that badly. I mean, there was a blowout, so you can't look too deep into it. But in terms of, this is the wrong guy. So if you look at, if we break down the stats here and we look at what he's done in the game logs, 118 yards against Merrick Mack. I'm not going to really count that, but 116 against Texas Tech, 7 for 15, a touchdown. He also rushed for a touchdown. So Buffalo last week in a close loss, 22 of 32, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for another touchdown there. If you break down some of his stats more, they do like to use him in running packages. Now, I'm not going to say he's a game breaker like Castellanos, but they do like to use him as part of the running game. And that's been a different wrinkle they've used with a guy like this as a bigger fresh. Like I said, he's a bigger guy, but they do like to use his select mobility there. And he hasn't turned over the ball. He hasn't thrown any interceptions yet. He scored on the ground, and his quarterback rating is 160. So he's been very efficient when he's gotten the pass. The issue, though, is that their pass blocking is atrocious. I mean, they have some of the worst pass blocking, I believe, in all of college football when you break down their passing grades.
Who's coaching there? Alex Atkins?
Well, I mean,
the O-line coach.
It could be, because their pass blocking is, in my opinion, reminiscent of last year's pass blocking for Florida State. It is, the guy gets beat up. You look at their pass rating percentages without a clean pocket, and it's down in the 50s. So they don't throw well under pressure. And I think Florida State is going to be able to bring the pressure come Saturday.
It's going to be a field day.
That's really what it comes down to, is that this team is not going to be able to block Florida State on the offensive line. And I'll bring it up here. You look at their offensive line and how they grade out. You got some guys in the 30s in terms of their PFF grade. This guy's 568 out of 577 in terms of tackles. This guy's there's only 600 tackles. They're grading 600, almost 600 tackles in the country. Wow. These guys are in the bottom fifth. 533, 545, 568, 552. These are some of the worst graded offensive linemen in the country that you can find. And that's why the Shields guy, I think this is the type of quarterback you'll find probably transfers out after this year, because he'll get some on tape. He'll make some good plays, but he doesn't have the ability to do much behind this type of offensive line, which you find with a lot of these smaller schools. You'll have these bright stars who were under recruited out of high school, and they found a spot. A school like Kent State gives them a shot, which is great. But then you can't deliver the football consistently behind a terrible pocket, and you see that. You've seen that last year.
You just get beat up.
You get beat up, right? And so Florida State, this defensive line, these linebackers are going to eat up this offensive line. They're going to eat them up all day long.
Yeah, KB. Yeah. Let's not sugarcoat this thing. We don't do that. Okay, we say we're raw and unfiltered. This is going to be a horrible game. I mean, this is one of the worst teams playing ball, and this is no disrespect. No. It's by statistics. Okay, in total offense, they're behind everybody. They're behind their opponents in every category. Yep. Every category, they're behind their opponents. And let's take total yards that they've scored that they've had this year is 956 total yards in how many games? 3 games.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
And the opponents have 1,398, and they're not. I mean, just that category alone, it's going to show that there's a problem here, and they are on an interim coach. I think they'll have a couple of players that are trying to put some video out so they can, as you said, get a leap forward.
Yep.
This is, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I doubt, and I want to get into a little bit of trivia here now. The first thing is Kent State. Most people don't even know where the hell Kent State is. I bet you don't know.
Is it Ohio? Isn't it Ohio?
Oh, well, Ohio's pretty damn big. Where is it in Ohio?
I already told you. Asked one question. There can't be multiple trivia questions. I answered the question.
It's in
Ohio.
Kent, Ohio.
Yes,
Kent,
it's
Ohio.
in the name. Yes.
What's the most famous thing ever happened at Kent State?
The shooting.
When was that?
Okay. I keep answering the question correctly, and you keep changing it.
1967.
Okay.
National Guard. Vietnam was going on. Protests were on the campus. The National Guard opened fire, killing I think 4 or 5 students. Okay, and it's tragic. And if you ever go there for a visit, you will see the memorial there. So it was a tragic piece of American history. So really, that's who the Kent State Flashes come from in that area. Now, as we continue, but I said I wanted to get out our trivia, and that was about what famous coach or what coach left Florida State and went to Rice. His name, the famous Bill Peterson. Coach Bill Peterson, who coached Fred Biletnikoff and many other good quarterbacks and wide receivers, left Florida State and went to Rice. And he went to Rice University, which was a little bit smaller than Florida State. It's a private university. And then from there, after 2 seasons, he went into the NFL. So that's the answer to that question, Mike and Jalen. And who was the coach that came from Charlotte was probably the most disappointing?
Alex Atkins.
Alex Atkins. So there's those 2 trivias for there. Jalen says he said it was 1970. I'll check that. You can AI that for me and see. I thought it was 67. Okay, I could be wrong. On that. But way back during my time, if it was 1970, I was at Florida State in 1970.
He was right. It was May 4th, 1970.
May 4th, 1970. Okay, good catch. Yep. Good catch. And yeah, I was graduating high school in May of 1970 and was going on to Florida State in August of 1970. And it was a rough 4 years of football. Let's not get into that. Okay, back to Kent State. Not a good football team. Interim coach, the head coach was fired after the first 2 games. I don't really understand that, why you would have to fire him at the end of 2 games. I don't know what the reason was. If somebody knows the reason, let us know. Obviously, some people said their performance against Texas Tech was
it was a violation of contract, they said. So
okay. It had to be something. I don't know. Something happened there. We don't know what it was, and they we're not going to look into it that deep. But they're not going to be a good football team. We're not going to spend a lot of time looking at them. I think we're going to look at what is Florida State going to get out of this game. The number one thing is we don't need any significant injuries in my mind. That's my first take. We've got most of the guys healthy now, coming off a bye week, coming off the win over Texas, East Texas. And now we've had almost 3 weeks of practice, development, and healing up injuries. So everything I'm hearing is most of the guys, including Squirrel White, was back out doing, getting some reps. So I think it may be a little early for Squirrel. I wouldn't put him in this game. They don't need him in this game. So any guys that are nursing injuries, I would kind of keep them out of this thing and get them ready for the University of Virginia. How about you?
I want to correct a few things. Like, Kenny Burns was fired in April, so it wasn't like he was fired in season. They've had an interim coach since April.
And we're not going to speculate what it is. We don't know.
Well, they've released a letter, so they've put some stuff out there. But yeah, so they're operating with an interim coach, but they also went 0-12 last year, so they may have been looking at ways to get rid of the coach. But yeah, so like you said, it's really, what do we want to see from Florida State in a game that should be very, very lopsided, much like when Kent State played Texas Tech?
Yeah, what do we want to see out of this game? What is Florida State looking to do to develop for the middle part of this season?
Well, once again, I want to see a lot of the young guys. I want to see what we have in a lot of the young guys and get them kind of going with guys like on the offensive and defensive end. I want to see guys get going with some of the first team offense, guys like Landon Thomas. If Landon Thomas is ready to go, and when we looked at the depth chart, I'm sure most of you guys have seen the depth chart by now that they released. Once again, you got to kind of play that with a grain of salt. But when you saw that got released, you saw Landon Thomas listed as an or at the tight end position. But I want to see more of the guys that we haven't seen yet get playing time with that offense. I want to see Amari Williams get more snaps with the first team offense. I want some of the weapons we brought in, some of the true freshmen, get some touches with the first team offense to get some of that rapport going. Because we're going to need a lot of those guys. Because like you said, we're only one play away from some guy getting banged up, being out for a couple of games. And I don't want to have to start getting that rapport in the middle of the Miami game or the middle of, the Clemson game and stuff like that. So even if we can get it in what this is basically is a glorified live scrimmage of sorts, I'd rather get it then than get it, in the crunch time of the Clemson game or like I said, the Miami game. So that's what I want to do on the offensive side.
Yeah.
I also want to.
Can I talk on that side before we go on defense?
Sure.
Yeah. I would like to see, instead of us just bombing these guys and touchdown after touchdown, which I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be much like the last time when every possession except one we scored. All right. I'd like to see us work with Tommy Castellanos with more short to middle passes. Of course, he's going to stretch the field, but I'd really like to see that short game, that short passing game, is the balls to the tight ends, as you say, and practice. What is it? Those types of things that are going to be invaluable to put on tape to let the opposing defenses down the road see we got multiple tools and we're going to use them all. I would like to see us do that. The tight end usage, I really like to see that pick up a little bit in the passing game. I know we use it a lot in the rush game, and the continue. I think we're going to see a lot of carries. I think we're going to see a lot of carries on the rush game. We want to see that line now, the offensive line continue to move people out because that opens up all the play action. So I'm hoping to see all of that.
Yeah, no, and to reiterate, I think we'll see plenty of the run game. I think obviously we should be able to run easily against this team based on them being a bottom 3 in rushing defense and or sorry, I just think easily we should be able to run against this team, just like we did against East Texas. But still on the offensive side, I want to see guys like Chase Lofton, Elijah Moore, Javion Boggs. I want to see those guys get involved, like you said, in that medium range game plan, and see, like you said, can we start to see if we need to throw the ball on 5, 8, 10 yards, what that looks like. Not everything has to be a big play down the field for 50 yards. Not everything can be a screen play that picks up those chunk yards. Can we kind of establish that over the middle of the field slant pass, kind of that, okay, we got 5, we got 10, or, some of those like mid-range passes, like you were just saying. I want to see that. And I also want to see those younger guys get involved, those younger weapons, and get that rapport with Thomas Castellanos. That's what I'm important, along with those tight ends that I mentioned earlier. I think it's important to get those guys involved and rest guys like Randy Pittman Jr. for the big games, because he's going to be obviously a big part of this game plan. So that's what I'm hoping to see. I think to your point with the running backs, I think it's going to be the same game plan. Maybe we'll see more Cam Davis. We haven't seen a lot of him through 2 games. We saw a little bit of him sprinkled in during the East Texas game. But overall, when you look at the total snap counts for the players, it's actually been very, very equal among the running backs. So if we look at the snap counts here, I think I'm showing them. In terms of running the ball, it's pretty even across the board. So, Tommy has 4-1, 3-1 the amount of snap counts at rushing the ball than anybody else does, or for it. But snap attempts for rushing, Tommy's obviously the highest right now, which I don't think is always a good thing. I don't think it's. I think we'll win games that way, obviously, but I think we do need to find ways where we can get more chunk yards from our natural running backs. In the big games as well. I don't want necessarily Tommy to have to run 20 times against, like I said, Clemson, UVA, Miami. I think he can do that, but those plays are going to add up when we get to game 8, 9, 10, like those.
Well, you raise the risk of injury when you don't necessarily have to do it. So I agree with you. I don't like called plays where it's a quarterback run. I think it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, especially in these early games. Like, let's make them respect those plays. I think they do already respect those. Those opponents are going to respect.
That respect is already there. That respect, exactly. They know this. That's what this guy does. Okay?
So in games like this tomorrow on Saturday, let's avoid his contact level at all costs. I would say. Like,
I agree.
Let's test his arm. But if you're going to do a running play, I'd rather get Kevin Sperry in there. And that's one of the things, too. Let's get guys like Kevin Sperry as much playing time as possible. If you're going to call a running play, a run option, I think we saw that Kevin Sperry has wheels. I think Brock has wheels. Not the same level of wheels that Tommy has.
Well, he can do it.
But if you're going to do a run play action kind of play, put those guys in there. Let them kind of take the body shots. Or let's just kind of fake it and give it to Gavin, give it to Usman, give it to Jalen. Let your running backs do the running because they're dynamic as well. Let's save Tommy's body shots for when he actually needs to get hit during the crunch time of the big games, right? Because I think against UVA, that game's going to be 10 points, 14 points. It's going to be a tighter game, and he may need to stretch it for a first down. He may need to stretch it for a big play, and we're going to want him as healthy as possible in 2 weeks. So,
well, I think the worst that can happen is if for some reason we come in rusty, we come in lackadaisical, we're not scoring, and you have to keep your starters in through the first 3 periods, maybe.
Correct.
I think that to me is not a good thing, because then the longer your starters are in the game, you want to get them some work. Okay. You want to get them some work, but the longer they're in the game, the higher the risk for injuries going into a week against UVA on the road in Charlotte on a Friday night. Okay.
Yeah, it's a short week.
Against, UVA in Charlottesville. Yeah. And so I think by halftime, you want your starters done. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm going to, you should tell them
Yes.
that. I want you guys done by that. Now, the spread is what, 45 points? Something like that.
The
You
spread
know,
right now,
it's,
yeah,
inc-
yeah.
it's an incredible spread. But I want everybody else in the game in the second half for development to rest my starters and avoid injuries. That's an important aspect of this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the necessary depth at a level that we need to take on the contenders down the road here, in my opinion.
And
Okay?
I don't
I
think
think
this
that's
game.
fair. And
I don't think we need to drop 75 points on this team. Like I said,
no, you
I'd rather
don't need
pull
to do
guys.
that.
I'd rather pull guys
Do
early.
45.
I'd rather pull our starters early
Right.
and win by 28 points and get out of there. Because, like you said, it's a short week. You have to travel. You have to play on Friday night. It's a short week. Get your starter, get the key guys out of there, avoid injury, and win by 28 points. Like that's what it matters.
I'd like to see a little bit more of Sawchuck, in the first half, Cromar in the first half, go to Cam Davis in the second half, and the other guys that come with him, But I want to see trench physicality. There's no reason there shouldn't be trench physicality and dominance. There's no excuse for it. These guys should grade out very high on the stats. And the other thing I really want to see, there should be a lot of punts by Kent State. There should be a massive amount of punts throughout this game. This is a ideal chance for your punt returners, i.e. Jalen Lucas. Squirrel White would not be a punt returner for me anymore.
No.
I need him to stretch the field. I need him out there catching balls, but I don't need him catching punts. And I want to see this punt team. You and I in a post-game reaction should rate this punt return team more importantly than anything.
Absolutely. And if they do hold Squirrel White out, who is going to be that second receiver? Because like you said, we saw Squirrel White in the first game, big play against Alabama. That was that one play. Last game we played, he got hurt, really didn't make an impact. So we really haven't seen who is the second possession receiver. Obviously, Deuce Robinson in a massive game. We know what he can do. We see the type of explosive receiver. He can do it long. He can do it short. He really stepped up, showed his hands, showed his body control last week. But we really haven't yet seen in a game who is going to be.
I want to see Boggs. I want to see the ball. I want to see him targeted so everybody can see what he's bringing to the table at this point. Young receiver, a tremendous upside ability. That's what we're hearing. And this is a great game for some of these young players to really get out there and show a difference. I think that's going to be very important. What do you want to see on defensive side now?
On defense, I want to see continued domination. I want to see the same laser-like focus because I thought against East Texas, I thought there could have been. They could have won that game, kind of the hangover from Alabama and not the same level of focus. It's an FCS team, but I thought they came out, once again, or a little set a tone. They go out there, laser focus, keep up the same pressure, and they just dominate from first quarter to the fourth quarter.
How many sacks do you expect to see in this game like this?
I want to see it, I want to see 4 or 5 plus at least.
Yeah. I'd say if we can't get 5 sacks in this game, it's something we need to take a look at. Okay.
But it's by whom? It's sacks by whom? I want to see if James Williams is available and playing. He needs to have a sack. He needs to show that he can not only pressure, but he can finish. And this is the game where he can start building that confidence because so far this season, he has not shown he can finish plays. He's shown he can create pressure, but he's not finishing plays in the first 2 games of the season. And then he got banged up last week, but I think he's back. This is a game where he can start building that confidence going into UVA that not only can I create pressure, but I can finish those plays. So it's not about just sacks. It's who's getting the sacks. So there's no doubt we're going to get sacks, but it's who will get the sacks.
Yeah.
And I want him to. Amari Williams got a great sack 2 weeks ago. I mean, we have plenty of guys.
I think you'll see him. I think you'll see him on the rush end as well.
We have 9 guys on this team who have a sack registered so far. 9 guys, which is great. But one of those guys is not the guy we thought it would be. The top guy we brought in from Nebraska is the guy that does not yet have a sack, James Williams. He has 5 hurries, 1 hit on a quarterback, 1 tackle, 5 missed tackles. He's got an 83% missed tackle rate. So this is a guy that has to show he can finish at the quarterback. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see from him if he plays on Saturday.
I expect if he's in the game, he's going to be eager to get some points on the board there.
Yeah.
You know, I just, that's what he does. That's really his game, is to rush the quarterback. He's not really, I don't think, physical enough to hold the end at this point on every down. I just don't think he is, but we'll see.
I think that's an excuse.
We don't.
Amari Williams is 6. Amari Williams and him are basically the same size in terms of body, like 6'3", 6'4", 6'4" to 6'6", 259, 236. I mean, Amari Williams is smaller than James Williams is, I believe. So like the size thing, I don't buy. I don't buy the size thing. He's getting to the quarterback. He's just not finishing plays. He's getting past the guy. Yeah. He's just not either containing, or most of the time he's just not playing the containing correctly, and he's taking the wrong angle. But he's getting there. He's creating pressure. He's just not finishing the play.
It'll be interesting to see the interior of the defensive line too, Darrell Jackson and Lyons, to see if they wreak havoc in there. I mean, I would expect them to be a terror show in there on Saturday when they're in the game.
I mean, Darrell's been double teamed. You can see the plays when he's double teamed. But Desir, Desir.
Yeah, that should be interesting. They're going to be licking their chops too.
Oh yeah, I mean, guys. Yeah, certain guys on this team are going to either have to absorb pressure because they're going to get double teamed, or people are just going to run wild.
One of the things too I look for on the defensive side is takeaways. We don't have that many takeaways. 2 games in, right? What's our takeaway? I don't.
Takeaway
plus
so
1,
far.
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's plus 1.
We have 2 interceptions so far. Earl has 1. And Jared
so what are we?
One.
Plus 2. We lost any fumbles on our offense? I don't.
Yeah, we had the one Alabama. We had the kick. We had the punt. Remember muff. So I think we're plus 1 maybe.
Okay, so but you would expect, given the schedule we've played, the first 2 games, maybe that would be a little bit higher. But maybe we'll find out after this game. I would expect maybe we should have 2 or 3, at least 2 takeaways, maybe 3 takeaways here, and especially in the secondary, they're going to have to put the ball up a lot. Our run game, our run defense should just stalemate them. Well, and on 2nd and 3rd downs, they're going to have to throw the ball more. I expect there'll be shorter passes, and we could be able to anticipate some of those passes and really wreak havoc there. I just can't imagine they're going to have long, sustained drives. So, and that's our only chance in this game, is to control the football, control the clock, and try to limit the possessions that Florida State has. That's their only chance in this game.
Well, that's the thing, like you said, is that against East Texas, they really didn't throw that much. And because once again, pressure was down their neck. So they were either getting pressured, the ball got
they wanted to run that clock.
Exactly. So most of these teams aren't trying to throw deep because they know they can't throw deep. Yeah. And when they try to throw, there's pressure in their face. So they have to check it down. And then they try to establish some run to balance it out and try to get yards without risking throwing the ball downfield. So that's why you're not going to generate a ton of takeaways. And when they do, you get like the interception I think Jerry Wilson had against East Texas, where you get a pick like that. And that's why they don't try to throw it a lot, because they know there's better DBs who, if you make a mistake, they're going to make you pay. So I don't look at takeaways this early in the season necessarily.
If I was Tony White, though, and we're having our conference about how we're going to do this. If I was Tony White, I'd be asking Surtain and who is it, Cooper, the defensive back and safeties. Yeah. I'd be asking, listen, here's what I really want to do this week. And I think it's great development for our players. I want to see a lot of press man on our corners on the outside. I want them to show at least, who's the guy from Houston?
Jerry Wilson.
Jerry Wilson. I'm going to lock Jerry Wilson down on the guy. You're going to play press man the whole game against the guy. This is what they do in the NFL. Jerry, this is your shot against this type of team, to try this. And so I think I'd have my corners playing man to man, maybe 1-2 guys over the top, and go wild with the rest. I can't imagine that their guys or wide receivers can beat our defensive secondary. I can't imagine that unless we break a coverage. If we break one of our coverages and the guys running wild, that's the reason. I just can't imagine that these guys' skills would be much better than our defensive back skills.
No, exactly. I think, like you said,
I'd be shocked if it was.
But at the same time, well, like we said about the offense, get Jerry out of there as soon as you can. I think once you're up a couple of points, there's no reason to have him on the field. Unless you're trying to beat them down by
he's going to play a
shutout. Unless you're playing a shutout, right? If that's what you're playing for, keep him out there. But there's no reason for Jerry to be out there after the first half. Like get the young guys in there. Get the backups in there. Get Don. Get AJ or get Kai. Get Max Redmond. Get the Shamars. Get the younger guys who need experience. Who you think could be the rotational guy if some guy gets down. That's who. I don't care about the true freshmen who are raw. And
right.
Backups. Don't get the guys who you don't know definitely aren't going to contribute this season. I don't care necessarily about. I care about the guys who are greener, but you think could contribute this year. That's the guys I really want to get in because that they need playing time. They necessarily don't have the snaps yet, but you want to see what they look like in a live game situation. That's the guys I really want to
get in. Right now, Kent State's averaging 318 total yards of offense. That's not a lot.
It's not terrible, but it's not
a lot. That's the whole, it's just not a lot.
Their offensive line is horrible. That's the thing.
I would be shocked if they get over 320 yards of total offense against us. I'd be shocked.
How many did East Texas? I think it's very.
I think East Texas was a better team. I think they had better on paper players than Kent State, and no disrespect to either one of them, but I just don't. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that this team is going to be able to move the ball consistently against this defense. If it does.
No.
It's going to open up some questions.
Because when you look at this is all FBS teams, 136. So you look at their pass blocking grades. They are bottom 5. They are rated at a 27.6 grade in pass blocking. You look at their run blocking. They are in the bottom 2, 44 run blocking score in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They, like you were just saying, they have one of the worst offensive line. Our defensive line has looked pretty good so far. I think the younger guys and the veteran guys like Daryl Jackson, the Sear twins, the younger guys, the James Williams, this is should be by all accounts a field day for those guys.
It should be a feed, eat day. And you can see why Miami beat the hell out of USF. Look at their grades on the offense.
Yeah.
Look at their grades.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's a big reflection after the Miami game, too.
Exactly. So, this grades out, and I think Florida State should have a field day defense, and I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. So that's why this should be very, very lopsided. And I don't think we're gonna learn about the defense a lot in this game. That's why I don't think we should overreact if Florida State has a big game. But if they have a big game defensively, they've done their job, and that's what they should do based on what we see, what we've analyzed, and then. When you look at the defensive side of Kent State, defensively, they have graded out pretty well. They played Texas Tech, who destroyed them. But, defensively, the run defense checks out, grades out pretty high. Once again, they've also played some crap opponents when you look at talent-wise, stuff like that. But defensively, it will be interesting to see how quickly the Florida State offense gets going. Are they as explosive as when they played East Texas, an FCS school? Because they're defensively, Kent State does have better players, I think, on that end of the football than East Texas does, because they do have Division I FBS talent. And when you look at the grades, they're not terrible. So it will be interesting to see, can Florida State start scoring quickly? I mean, they scored a touchdown every single drive against East Texas. That's hard to do. Again, it doesn't matter who you're playing, right?
Yeah. This is the end of Alabama. Obviously, we've played one game, and we dominated that one game against a quality opponent who's now kind of gearing up. Alabama, they're really gearing up. We're going to really find out about Alabama when they play Georgia in a couple of weeks. But it's very good that they're gearing up. That makes Florida State look even better because we dominated against Alabama. Yep. Okay. So, but we've played one game. Okay. Yep. Now we're getting ranked very high, as you know. We're in number seven now.
Yep.
7. We're number 7, which I hope nobody's drinking the perfume. I think it's you play one game at a time, you play one play at a time, and that's old school sayings, but it's true. Play to your standard, okay, and everything should work out good. But the big games are coming up, and we're going to learn a lot more about this football team, as I've said in a couple of X's or Twitter, against UVA on the road and then Miami at home, which I hope and should be a undefeated matchup of Florida State and Miami at Doak Campbell Stadium. That could be a game day. That the game day crew could come in for that. I mean, that's very possible. That's going to be a huge, and that'll be a primetime game. There's no doubt in my mind. They haven't announced the time on that, I don't think, right?
I'm not sure about that.
In fact, I don't even know what prime time is anymore. 12 used to be the crap teams. Now you get big teams playing at 12 o'clock. I hope it's not that. I hope it's a night game. Florida State needs a night game with that big tension they're building. And that's going to be a hell of a game. We're going to know a lot more about this football team then after we play UVA and after we play Miami.
I guarantee if Florida State's undefeated, if they beat UVA, which they should.
Well, there's no reason they shouldn't.
No, but Miami and Florida State, if Miami and Florida State are undefeated and potentially both top 5 teams, because things could happen, and Florida State and Miami are top 5 teams, that will be a nighttime prime time.
You want to see prices on seats go up?
Yeah,
that would double those prices
because you haven't seen top 5 Miami, Florida State in a while.
Okay, but I think that we've really covered the things that we need to come out of this game with now.
The other thing to make it exciting for you too is coaches on Florida State, they also are scouting to see, are there any players on this team we may want to take in the portal? That's because
you mean Kent State?
Yeah, you never know. That's the thing.
True.
Remember, we always go back to how did they find Jared Verse? When Jared Verse was playing Syracuse, he
had a dynamic game.
He had a dynamic game.
You're right.
There's some guy on the Florida State sidelines who's his only job is to scout on both sides who's standing out here.
I hope so. I hope there's more than one guy.
And I'm telling you, this Drew Shields kid, there's this Drew Shields kid I'm telling you to look out for. I'm not saying he's going to pop up, but as a freshman and the younger guys, and then there's a linebacker on their team. I forgot his name, but he stood out, and he's also, I think, a freshman or a sophomore.
And those guys know that, so if that linebacker gets 10 tackles and 2 pass breakups or an interception, eyes are on him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's, and it's also a fun way for us as fans to watch the game. It's like, okay, this is a guy that could, CJ Young's the linebacker. So that's another kid to watch on their team because he's performing pretty well. And you never know where these guys will end up. They could end up playing for Florida State or for an opponent of ours down the road. So it's something to watch out for.
I wouldn't mind seeing us try a couple of longer field goals too. I want to see we have a new field goal unit, basically. I want to see them perform, when pressure, even in the game's out of sight, it's not the same pressure, but I want to see them perform, because when Miami's in town and you need a 48-yard field goal and you got fans on both sides screaming, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. So I think there's certain things that Florida State's going to go into the game with, knowing we want to accomplish the following items. I think we've covered those items. I can't think of anything we haven't. And you want to get out of this without any significant injuries to your starters. That's clearly probably the number one thing.
I agree.
You're going to win the game. Going to win the game. Well, like you said earlier, you don't have to have 80 points. You could have 45 points. You could have 40 points to nothing. Nobody cares. But what you care is, what work do we get out of this game?
The other two things I want to bring up before we totally move on and wrap this up is a couple of guys I want to see, because we've not seen a lot of them, is Gavin Blackwell. He's played a little bit.
Yeah, what is it? He's not on the injured list. They don't talk to him about injured. He should be ready to go.
He's ready to go.
He's a portal guy, came in with decent,
He's gotten 5 snaps, I believe, in the first 2 games. So he's a guy we should hopefully start to see more, or I would say he's probably not going to get, if he's not getting time now, I wouldn't expect him to get time later because unless
Yeah,
somebody
exactly.
we get a lot of attrition because so far he's been out of the loop. So hopefully he's gotten more time underneath himself and he can start to get into the swing of things. But so far
Yeah,
he
you
is.
would think he'd be in this game. You would think he'd be in this game.
And if not, then we got to start thinking about why not? Why is he not getting snaps? Because so far, yeah, he's had
Well,
about
that would be, that's a good question for the press guys to ask Norvell.
yeah.
Instead of, well, never mind. Don't get me going on that.
Okay, so
That's a real good question. And that brings up the question that was asked to Brian Kelly, against that, and he apologized to that presser guy. But when you open up to the press, answer the questions. Don't start judging what kind of question is that. Is it a legitimate question or, answer it.
Yeah.
Because you don't like the nature of the question, you opened it up for questions. These college pressers are too soft most of the time. And asking, what is the status of Gavin Blackwell, who we brought in from the portal? What is his status as a wide receiver?
Yeah, exactly. He's a veteran. It's not like some young guy playing to develop.
If Cam Davis doesn't get a lot of carries, let's say in this game down in the second half, what is the status of Cam Davis in this team?
Yeah.
It's almost like we have to say, Coach, do you think the players get a lot of motivation by you being on the sidelines? It's like they ask what I call leading questions that lead the coach to a positive answer that's easy for him to go with. What is the sense of having a presser if you don't want to ask questions? You're too afraid that you will lose your access to questions if you ask a hard, relevant question.
Yeah, agree. The other person I wanted to bring up was, what's his name? One, if Caleb Lavelle is planning to go, if he's ready, because we've heard Norvell say he would be ready in a couple of weeks. So that's another guy to monitor whether he'll be maybe ready to go this week. Maybe it's next week on TVA in that linebacker room. He'll bring some depth there. And
Kevin Wynn is supposed to be pretty close.
Yes, and they've been talking him up. So that'll be interesting. And once again, he's one of those young guys they thought would be kind of a year one impact player and make some sort of impact. And that's a deeper room than we thought it would be. So that'll be interesting, like you said, to see what he can do. So this would be a good warm up. If he was ready to go, this would be a good game to get his kind of training wheels going, I would say, versus say a UVA or.
Well, I think we've said it that when you go into a game like this is a developmental game. All right. And you must tick off the list of things you're trying to get done.
Yeah.
Because let me say this. I put out an X earlier in the week, and I said, I'm a little softly concerned about the last 3 weeks. We've had East Texas, which was a cream puff. We've had a bye week. Now we have Kent State. There's 3 weeks that you could say, well, we got positive out of that, developed some guys, we had practice. But in terms of game action, right, we've had like 3 weeks since Alabama. Our game action has been nothing going into UVA. So I hope and I pray we've used that time effectively in what we're trying to get done. Because when you gear it up against UVA now we're playing the big boys again. We're playing it, and UVA's got a good team. Let's not say they don't. They're gonna be. They know this is a huge game on their schedule, and they've got it circled. So
Yep. And then lastly, the last guy in Norvell mentioned, and I think one of his pressers is that Lawayne McCoy we talked about those younger guys.
Lawayne,
he's ready to go. So they expect him to make his debut. And this is a guy that they recruited a couple of years ago, and they really liked him, and they've held on to him, and they expect him.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the guy that stands out. So keep an eye on him, and let's see if he's ready to make an impact. But there's space available, and they like him.
All right, let me switch the channel here a little bit and ask you about the big rumors kicking around Tallahassee, of course, was Tony White's name being kind of pulled up or up in the air about the UCLA job. I didn't hear anything about the Virginia Tech job, but the UCLA job, because he played at UCLA. He's kind of an alumni of UCLA.
Sure.
You and I were talking offline. You gave me the impression that you think it's for any coach going out there, it's a tough task. Okay,
Yeah.
they're like $200 million in the red on their athletic budgets.
Yeah.
Their alumni aren't that involved with the team. Now, back in my day,
The fans aren't even.
UCLA was a dog. They were a dog, man. I mean, a barking dog where they get after people. They had some really good teams. They had some really good players. Them and USC would clash. Those were huge clashes, nationally televised games. And, so they ruled the roost out there.
Yeah.
Not so much lately. The question is, Tony White's had one game at Florida State. Okay. Now, he has a track record. He's an upcoming young coach. I like the way he coaches. I like his attitude. Do you think he would consider a job like this?
No. No. I think, once again, and you mentioned that, you texted me. I think someone's like his agent. It's probably it's just leverage for a negotiation.
His agent leveraging
down the road. It's not going to be an in season. They're not. I don't think they're negotiating right now. Like, he just got hired. But like I mentioned, and this is someone, Stuart Mandel tweeted out from SI, I believe.
Yeah, he's credible.
Athletic department's $200 million deficit over the last 6 years. They don't have an NIL budget. The fans hate the athletic. They don't have a fan base essentially that goes to the games.
I haven't seen Bill Gates show up at any of the games.
And they are, in terms of Big Ten football, they are in the basement, like in terms of competitors. Like, they are not going to out recruit Ohio State, Michigan, and they're the blue bloods in that for football. Like, that would be, whoever goes there set it for failure. The person that they are going to get for that is, like, in my opinion, like someone who understands the situation and is willing to take on that risk to build a resume. I don't think Tony White needs to do that. And also, I think he makes enough to say, I'm in a good spot right now, and there'll be better openings than that. I don't need to go. Yeah. I don't need to go try to, because if you take that job, all the problems I mentioned, you have to fix along with fixing the football program. Like, it's more than just recruiting there. You have to go fix those problems before you can even fix the football program.
And you know what? I don't know how it would even work. I mean, let's say Tony White, what would he do? He would leave the team, or he would say to UCLA, I'll leave the team at the end of the season. But by then you're behind in recruiting and portal, and I don't know how the hell that would work.
They're not going to land a coach probably till into October, November.
Because I can't imagine Tony White and his commitment to his players would just get up and leave. I mean, that would not be a very good sign.
No,
okay.
They'll probably get, like I said, some.
Well, they could go after a guy that doesn't have a football team. Jimbo.
That's the best way to go.
They could go after John Gruden,
a guy who's already set. Exactly, a guy who's already set up. Like you said, has no risk. If he gets fired, he doesn't care.
And they can bring in immediately to start building the program.
The other way is you go through a local high-profile high school coach. Like, has ties to California. Why? Why? Who else wants to have the shit problems of no NIL?
No, this is guys. You already mentioned guys that are trying to build a name, and they'll take a chance. See, the only good thing when you take a team and a program that's shit, Bobby Bowden did that. 1973, when I was there.
It's a whole different.
He wasn't there. We were 0-11. They were going to abolish Florida State football. I'm telling you the truth now. And then 2 years later, Bobby Bowden came in because we went through 2 or 3 coaches real quick. Okay, including Daryl Mudra, who sat up in the press box and coached the damn games. Yeah. So Bobby Bowden left the program. Was basically West Virginia had a mediocre, and they kind of were running Bobby out of West Virginia. And he goes, "I'll go to Florida State, which is in the toilet," and he built the program from there. But that's a different time, a different generation, and so on. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have the other opening. Just for a minute, Brent Pry got fired at Virginia Tech after 2 games. Right, 2 games. So why do you think this firings are taking place so early in these seasons? Is that an NIL portal? And why? Why would you fire a coach after 2 games?
I think
and Old Dominion sealed his fate because they got blown out by Old Dominion, which is in Virginia.
I think it's to send a message once again to the fan base, donors, and stuff like that. That because, like you said, fundraising. I think it's to say we're gonna reset this. We're gonna go because they may be making several moves. They may be making several moves to hire a new general manager, because I think from what I've been reading, stuff like that, they may be going for a whole new athletic director. And so I think there may be a whole new reset at Virginia Tech, and it may be a whole new athletic director, coach, like everything is coming there. And so I think
Michael Vick's name's been thrown around,
which is stupid.
I think
he just lost to a Division II school at Norfolk State. Like, what do we do? Like, that's the dumbest thing I saw out of all this. But I think that they're doing it early because I think these, especially for like Pry, had not done anything there. Like he was very not a great coach there, and this, in his own words, was the best roster he had in 3 or 4 years. So, once again, he wasn't building anything, and I think they're looking to totally reset. And they're in a tough spot too because, the Big Ten recruits the best talent out of Virginia. They're surrounded by JMU now. They're surrounded by Virginia. ODU now has their number. Like, they're surrounded by good programs who are it used to be Virginia Tech just got the best talent out of Virginia. They could get the best talent in Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland. It's not like that anymore. So once again, if you don't have NIL set up,
recruiting area like you're saying,
and the closest airport is 3 or 4 hours away, like that, whoever goes into that is in a tough situation too, because you're not in a major city, you're in the middle of nowhere, you don't have a huge NIL fund, you don't have a huge
and you get the crap beat out of you by Old Dominion that has only been a D1 program for a little while.
And you're not in a talent-rich state, and the talent that is there, the good talent that is there, is being swallowed up by Ohio State's and Big Ten programs because now they have a foothold in the state. And that's why they acquired Maryland. That's why the Big Ten acquired schools like Maryland, so they could get the talent in the DMV. So, Virginia Tech's in a really tough spot because they don't have any recruiting advantage. They don't have a talent advantage, and they
don't have
own the state.
Bag of money.
Yeah, and so once again,
it's a great school. Great school. It's a great fan base. They pack the stadium, and they're loyal. I mean, they'll stay by
they started to lose. They started to leave in that game, and that's why I think they had.
I don't like that. You know how I stand. I don't like that. Win or lose, I like my fans to stay in the seats. You know what? And that brings the point about when Florida got beat the other night. LSU, they were on the road, but the Florida band was playing the alumni song. The players usually go over for that, and most of them left the field, didn't even wait for that. That team, that's a whole nother subject. We don't have to do that tonight, but that team is going to be very interesting to watch. Billy Napier is going to get fired. Okay, it's a question when he gets fired. It's a question of it's not if he's going to get fired. He's going to get fired. His overall record is like 20-20. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see now. You got players who can go into the portal. If your head coach gets dismissed, you have 30 days you can enter the portal at any time in the season. Mm-hmm. You and I discussed offside whether or not you can play right away. I don't
know. I don't know the answer.
I don't think you could do that. But it's going to be very interesting as this season goes along. Do certain players start saying, "No, I've got an injury, I can't play," or they start, you know what I mean, opting out? We used to say the team would opt out of bowl games. We know that's a standard now. Players will opt out. The high impact players will opt out of those games. I don't blame them. Okay. And do players start opting out during the season? That's going to be very interesting.
But you're seeing that with guys like, people are already, guys from Virginia Tech are already entering the portal, like you said. Florida State's already contacting the cornerback from Virginia Tech, and the top guys at these schools are going to they're going to move. They're going to move forward to other places.
You should be evaluating, like you said, even against Kent State. Evaluate players never stops. The NFL does the same thing. They have a list. They know where every guy is. They know a guy sitting on the couch someplace.
Yeah, and what I assume is obviously since with that portal window, he'll lose this year, but he'll have the extra year eligibility next year, which he'll get to train with the team this year, practice with the team this year, wherever he decides, and be able to play with next year, which is good and fair. And if your coach is fired in midseason, I understand that. And some people say, well, you're going to ban your team, whatever. I see both ends.
I just think it's a little unusual this season to see coaches get fired so quickly. I'm wondering, that's going to be interesting to follow, that if they're getting fired early, by midseason, if things aren't going well, could you see more coaches upended? And the other thing is, will NFL coaches, not old timers like Bill Belichick, but younger guys, come back down to take head coaching positions at UCLA, at a Virginia Tech, for the development of their own careers, of taking on a program? This is going to be fascinating to watch all of this.
You also have to think about, we don't know the contract structure of some of these coaches' contracts, so maybe
we don't know any contracts. Yeah.
So it could be, if they fire him by a certain day, there's a buyout, something like that too. That's why.
Okay, quick comment. Which quarter on the quarterback of Langway, Florida? What's your thoughts right away? Boom.
I mean, I remember talking to my nephew. I said Florida wasn't that good last year, and I don't know why there were such big expectations this year. They won 8 games. The teams they beat last year their records combined weren't like, they had the winning records of the teams they beat last year was like a 500 record. So I think Lagway's like any quarterback. Yeah, you can have good games, you can have bad games, but I don't know. The team got overhyped. I blame the media for that. I think he can have good games, he can have bad games. I think he's probably an average plus quarterback. But I also don't think Billy Napier is putting probably him in the best offense to run it. I think it's probably like Tommy. I saw someone write that. I don't think anyone can really play super well in a Billy Napier offense, especially that quarterback. So I think it's a little bit on the head coach, and the head coach is still calling everything.
Do you see any way Napier survives unless he wins out or something?
If he wins out, yeah, obviously. It starts with Miami. If he wins that.
What if he's 5-6 and they're going to play Florida State? He beats Florida State and they end up 6-6, go to a toilet bowl.
If he's 5-6, he'll already be fired. He's not. If he's 5-6, he's not making it to the Florida State game. No way in hell. No way in hell. And I think they're going to get blown out on Saturday. I mean, Miami blew them out 41-17. That Florida team is no better this year than they were last year. They're going to get blown out.
You think so? What's the spread?
They lost 41-17 last year. Do you think Florida's team this year is better than last year's? No. They got blown out last year.
Do you think what's the spread? Do you know? Anybody out there, viewers, know the spread on Florida, Miami? Send it to us, please. Yeah, I'm going to watch that game. That takes me to a couple of games I'm going to be interested in. You've got Michigan and Nebraska. That could be an interesting game.
Spread is 9.5
for Miami.
Yeah, that's
Miami. That's
Miami's
not a lot of points. I don't know.
And it's at home for Miami.
Yeah, that's not blowout points.
But that's what I'm saying. I think I would take the 9. Take the 9 points. Miami's going to destroy it. Minus 9.5 for Miami.
Yeah, you think they'll blow that 9 points away?
In my opinion, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, right. I've had no indication that why I should believe that Florida. I mean, they both have a similar opponent, South Florida. Florida could not score points against South Florida.
Right.
Miami blew the brakes off of them.
In fact, South Florida just dominated the game, really.
Yeah.
The score, they really dominated the game.
Miami blew them out 49-12. So I see, once again, Florida doesn't really have an offense this year.
And that stadium should be packed with both Florida and Miami fans. These are the games people want to see. I saw a guy writing about the Big Ten. They said they were so tired of seeing Big Ten opponents always scheduling the same people: Bowling Green, University of Ohio, Toledo. People don't want to see those games.
Yeah, but this shouldn't be game. I don't think this should be the game day game though. There's better games on.
Why do you think it is?
Hell if I know. Hell if I know. Because I do.
There's not that many big games on this Saturday.
Oklahoma, Auburn's better than that.
Well, yeah, but
Utah, Texas Tech is better than that.
Yeah.
Illinois. Nah, Illinois and Indiana. I don't think it's
Well,
even though
Florida's an SEC team, so
yeah. I just yeah. I think there's a couple better games. Even Tulane, Ole Miss. I'd probably pick over that.
yeah. I think I'm going to watch the Nebraska-Michigan game. I'll probably watch some of that. I am definitely going to watch the Florida-Miami game, and I'm a little interested in the UNC game. Who the hell do they play? I forgot.
They play UC or Central, as Bill Belichick calls them.
Yeah, Central Florida, which is a Big 12 team now.
He only calls them Central.
Yeah, Central. That's gonna, I think, and that's in Orlando. That I believe that's in Orlando.
Yeah.
That could be an interesting. That could be an interesting game too.
Spread
We'll
is
see.
7.5.
Because as I said a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I said UNC has a soft schedule. They have a soft schedule, and I still believe that. It'll be very interesting how they do.
Well, you know who has a really I don't know if we've talked about this before, but Cal has a really soft schedule.
And they're 3-0.
Yeah, and they play nobody.
And they're running up some numbers. So I mean, they've got a quarterback who's spinning the ball pretty good right now. So that's going to be an interesting to keep an eye on in the ACC.
They don't play a single ranked team the entire year.
Yeah. Georgia Tech's a team to keep an eye on. They got a great coach. They got a great quarterback. They got players that are overachieving, and they're doing a good job. I wouldn't want to play Georgia Tech. I wouldn't want to play them.
No, but they're an actual good team. Cal just, I don't know.
Georgia Tech just got ranked, I think, in the top 20, I think.
Yeah, they're
20, 19, something like that. And I think they deserve it.
Absolutely.
And they're going to be a challenger for the ACC title game.
100%.
We don't play them, right?
No,
we don't play them. So, the Clemson game becomes very important to us. Of course, the Miami game becomes very important to us. If we can get through those two games, we're going to be in the driver's seat for the ACC title game.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I don't think more than two teams will get into the playoffs from the ACC unless you're in that title game. I really don't. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it depends where teams are ranked, but Clemson being 1 and 2.
But Florida State needs to do one thing, one game at a time, one play at a time, and just focus on that. Yeah. Focus on that. Okay. Absolutely. Do I think Florida State's going to win the national title? I can't say I do. I'm being honest. I can't say I do. Do I think they're a very good team and have the capability based on one game? And that was 3 weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. And the rest has all been practice. Is they have shown the potential to be a very good team. Okay. We're going to find out against UVA and Miami really what this team brings to bear. Yep. And we're not talking about, we were competitive and lost. I think we should be winning now. Now, a lot of people disagree with that and say, no, Miami's going to beat you. I don't care where they play you. We'll find out. Yeah. I think we have the capability. I do.
Yeah. All right. A couple last things. Some people say Dabo Swinney's starting to feel his pressure at Clemson.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you see that presser?
Yeah. So I got a clip from it. Play it right here. See what your thoughts are. Oh, God.
They can send me on the way. If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on the way because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway.
Okay.
If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while.
Yeah, I like his
But-
candor. I like his candor. When he says they, he's not talking about the pressers or in room. He's
No,
talking
no.
about either fans or alumni or big donors. That's
Yeah.
the they. That's the they.
Yeah.
And he's saying that they want championships, ACC crowns, and national championships. And if you ain't getting one of the two, okay, and being in the playoffs, then and so he's feeling heat probably from the stories and the press and stuff like that, but when he's addressing the press, he's addressing those alumni and those big donors. That's who he's addressing.
Exactly.
And he's saying, you want to go get someone else, go get them.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not going to be your punching bag. So I'm here to coach football players. He's a good coach. I don't like Dabo necessarily, when he wins and how he acts. But I didn't like Steve Spurrier, but I respected Steve Spurrier for his ability to coach ball. And I respect Dabo Sweeney on his ability to coach ball. I don't like them personally, but I think they're good football coaches, and they'd be welcome when Spurrier's retired. But Dabo would be taken in pretty damn quick by someone else for big money.
And that's what he said. He said, I could go coach somewhere else if you don't like
now,
it. So.
If he were to lose to wrong teams, or if he were to take a loss with Florida State at home,
but that's the thing. That
drum's going to rattle a little bit. That drum's going to rattle a little bit,
But to his point, who would you replace? Like, what coach are you going to replace him
There's
with?
always someone out there. There's always the newcomer. There's always the next guy. There's always that. You hear it every year. Come on.
Grass isn't always greener.
But you hear it. Oh, this guy's an up and comer. We thought Alex Atkins was going to get a head coaching job.
That's what I'm saying.
We were all afraid that Alex Atkins was going to be lured away,
I wish he was.
And if he didn't go 2-10 as offensive coordinator, he might be a coach, a head coach. Did you see him sitting in the box? I sent you that. When he was sitting in the box, he looked like,
miserable.
What the hell am I doing? He's the tight ends coach now?
Yeah, tight ends.
I don't know who owes him something,
Connections.
But, some people think that Dabo is not satisfied with his quarterback, Klubnik. Some people think that, he just doesn't have a great team this year. But let's see how he does. It's only been 3 games, okay?
Yeah.
And he's played decent teams. He lost to Georgia Tech, and he lost to who?
Not Notre Dame.
Who the hell did he play? Miami? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody could lose.
No, LSU.
Okay, LSU.
17-10 lost.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing. They're saying
touchdown.
LSU, it was
Ridiculous.
7-10. Neither team.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. That's like saying everybody was on Kevin DeBoer losing to Florida State after one game.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got him on. He's got the wheels running now. We're going to see.
Yeah.
But when you're in high profile jobs that are used to winning and winning big, people want big. And some of these coaches say you're spoiled. You want it every year.
And then that's why these teams schedule cream puffs, because then you avoid these type of conversations if you lose. And
that's right.
Some of these schools will.
With the playoffs now and the level of competition they're looking for, you're going to see better teams always scheduling better opponents, and it's going to hurt the FCS schools who come in for the paycheck. That's just the way it is.
Well, with that conversation, and it kind of leads to Notre Dame. They're the first. Do you agree that they should be ranked at 0-3 right now?
No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. That's crazy. But because it's Notre Dame, they have a big alumni. They travel well, and if you put them in some kind of a playoff game, the playoff committee is hoping they'll make it in. They spend a lot of money. This game's all about money now. Okay, it's all about money. It's like pro. This is semi-pro football. It's developmental pro football. And no, do I think they should be ranked? No. Now, but they've played decent opponents, right?
And that's my argument, is that they probably played a better schedule than
they probably play a better schedule
than 3/4 of the ranked teams have. And teams
And
like
they've been in those games. They've been in those games.
like who the hell has Texas Tech played? They're number 17 in the country. Who the hell has Texas
No,
Tech
I
played?
know.
Oh, look at their schedule.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
they're number 17
Yeah,
and
it's
they
a
play
joke.
nobody.
It's a joke.
Nobody.
It's a joke.
So I'm like, at the other end, I'm like, I give credit for Notre Dame going out there and scheduling ranked
Yeah.
teams back-to-back weeks and losing by a combined 4 points.
I don't think they're 0-2, so I don't think they can lose another game. If they they got upset by Purdue, now they're going to play Arkansas. They're a pretty good football team, So I don't think they have any margin for error now. They really don't, and they need to start beating people more in a dominant way.
Yeah,
so,
but 4 points against 2 ranked teams, like I'm not as upset about this because they had the balls to schedule 2 ranked opponents in back-to-back weeks to open the season versus being Auburn or being Texas Tech, who Pine Bluff and bullshit opponents, and now they earn it by default. That's what I don't like.
Well, it's because listen. They're an independent. They're not even in a conference.
And they don't have to schedule those opponents. And that's the best part.
But that tells you something.
Yeah.
Okay. No, they have to schedule so many ACC football games now, but they're not in football in the ACC.
But they don't have to schedule Texas A&M.
No, but what I'm saying is they understand that they need strength of schedule because they are an independent. But when you have the name Notre Dame, okay, that means something. But it can only carry you so far. They can't really stumble the rest of the way. They almost have to win out.
Yeah,
they almost have to win out as an independent. They're not in the ACC. They're not going to be in any championship game. So that's actually an advantage to them. But this year it may not be an advantage, but they're going to have to win out.
And they're going to have to hope some of these teams get ranked.
And I hope some of these teams are winning and have winning, years and so on and so on. Yeah. But they get credit for being who they are. And that's just the way you walk around. You don't know.
Yeah, I give them credit for.
Okay, let's get Jeffrey Hill. Always, thank you so much for the coffee donation there.
Yes,
we definitely appreciate that.
Yes,
you're loyal. You're like the rest of our guys who come in here all the time.
Thank you.
And we definitely appreciate it. And Jeffrey says Notre Dame is a big joke. They haven't been relevant since Lou Holtz. They're the media darling. They always rank them high, even though they don't deserve it. And I think that's what we're saying. So I agree with Jeffrey there.
I mean, they went to the national championship.
But no, this is what I'm saying, though. I'm saying what Jeffrey is. They're a media darling. They're a darling of college football. They have the long history, and they're going to get that break that Florida State didn't get when they were 13-0. Okay, the media was against them, and the media has some power here, and TV has some power. TV, when you start having these bowl matchups that mean nothing outside the playoffs, they're looking at how many people can we bring into the state and spend money. You'll see much more of that now in these bowl games that don't mean anything because a lot of players will opt out. They're going to be basically practice scrimmages. So Jeffrey is right. We appreciate your viewership as always, Jeffrey.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey. So yeah, I mean that was one of the last things I wanted to bring up. The final thing is that I think Florida State should schedule Linscomb College. I don't know if you saw that.
Linscomb, Linscomb. This guy, I saw
this. The 50-year-old freshman defensive lineman. He quit high school football to do drugs in the 80s, but then he worked for the Parks Department.
Straightened out his life. Yeah.
And now he's playing. He's listed as a freshman defensive lineman for the D3 school. So don't quit on your dreams, folks. It's all possible.
Yeah, he's a defensive lineman at 227, but they're D3. And you know what? I'm going to give the guy credit because I saw this and I said, you know what? He's got his bucket list, and good for him.
Yeah,
we should all have that bucket list. And you and I talk offline on some of this stuff. Is have a bucket list, have a work-life balance, and say, I always wanted to try this. I always wanted to do this. There's people who just say it, and then there's people who go out and do it. Okay, it's the do it part that can be difficult. I want to do this. I want to do that. Then go out and try your best. And he did it. And congratulations to him. Congratulations to him.
That's awesome. And if he plays well enough, maybe
you can't say he's not a mature player.
Yeah. So I wanted to end on that high note there, but that's all I got. Anything else you wanted to go over?
No, it's not as big a college football weekend, but there are some ideal matchups. I focus now a lot on the ACC matchups because I want to see how our opponents do. I want to see how they're playing out. And but the big games, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. There's so much going on. We had to look up what the portal rule was when these coaches were out. Guys are jumping in the portal. Some of it's confusing as hell. And I think they could simplify that. But the last thing I have on my mind is hats off to our basketball coach, Luke Laux. He's been ranked #1 class by one of the media services. And I don't get into too many of those rankings and stuff. But supposedly he's bringing in some guys, doing it kind of quietly. And they're attracted to what Luke brings to the program. So I think AD Mike Alford probably unlocked a few more pots of money for Luke to play with. And I think it's going to be very interesting. You love basketball too. I think we're gonna really watch that program too a little bit. I didn't like that they're going to play down here in Tampa, which I like. They play down in Tampa. I'd love to go to the game, but the initial ticket offerings were $250 each at the arena down in Tampa to Texas A&M in one of the early $250. What the hell is going on in sports? Now I see that Arizona and somebody are scheduling a game in London. Is that just
that's for football? That's for
people are cooking these things up. These entertainment agencies, I think that trying to get. And it's all about money. The NFL is running 4 games overseas on the same day. Is that, or did I misread that?
Stupid. It's getting dumb.
There's so much stuff going on. It's hard to keep a handle on it. It really is. So, we try to bring this to our viewers. We do this for fun, as you guys know. We've had a lot of people in here. We've had Dagby. We've had Jeffrey. We've had Mike. Who else? I mean, I'm missing some of the guys. Samari Seminole. I want to see you put up. They want 80. Nah, let's not beat these guys to hell. Come on now, let's go. And we've had all kind of people in here tonight. We appreciate Jalen came in #1. You guys got to beat Jalen. Jalen comes in #1. Man, he knows that 740. If you got a problem with 740, you don't understand why isn't it 8 o'clock. You ask KB. He's the guy. Okay, but it's all good. We're having a good time on here, and we thank guys like Jeffrey Hill dropping us a coffee tip. And here's the last score of the night so far. Everybody's going to go watch. Mike's out there watching the Bills. Bills are going to blow it away. The Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to fire their coach halfway through the season, and they'll start over again, and he'll go get another job.
That's probably right. But
we always talk about networking in business field. Networking in the coaching business is your lifeline. And that is a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
That's it. I think it was a good show. Thank you again for everyone who came out, gave a like, gave a subscribe, and just supported, comments, everything like that. We appreciate it. Enjoy your Thursday, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and enjoy watching.
What about post-game reaction? We're going to do that on Saturday or Sunday.
We'll see. We'll probably do it Sunday. I may be watching the game a little bit later. But we'll
what time's the game on Saturday?
I think it's 3:30.
3:30. That's better than noon. God, noon games suck.
3:30 ACC Network. Be there. Enjoy the game. Have some snacks as you're watching it. And if you're at the game, enjoy it. If you're there, try to get a lower price ticket. Hopefully you caught one early.
It's got to be. Go on TickPick.
We already.
No, that wasn't. That was SeatGeek. Go on TickPick.
That was TickPicks.
It was?
Yeah. It was. So, but dress accordingly. It's supposed to be 93 in Tallahassee. So have a great weekend, y'all. Go Noles, and we will see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Take care. Go Noles. Go Noles.
Seminole Sideline 365. Feel the roar, we're coming alive. Garnet and gold in the battle we thrive. This is our house where legends arrive. every yard we take.